Coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Float, Odyssey, Telegram, Twitch, the Prepper Broadcast Network, and TikTok now. Ooh, voice crack there, guys. That was good. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim, and today is October the 29th. And this is episode 194, almost to the big 200 of the Workshop podcast. So how has everyone been? Hello, Gordon, over on TikTok. Good to have you. So we're going to try this multi-streaming thing from the phone on TikTok for the next little while. We'll see how it goes. It's been a busy couple of days here. Real nice weather, which is out of the ordinary considering we are within a couple of days of November, but it's going to change here real quick. We got a bunch of things to cover this evening, guys. It's always good to have you here. Always love our Saturday evenings. They tend to be a little more laid back. So we've got ourselves an old-fashioned in the Toolman Tim enamel mug, shameless plug, and shameless sip. So we're going to enjoy that. Hey, John Palmer, how are you? We're going to enjoy a Saturday evening drink, and we're going to cover a whole bunch of interesting stuff. Let's get the announcements out of the way first, guys. Chris Dixon's just here for the snacks, guys. So number one, I'm going to be heading to Jack's, to the Survival Podcast Fall Workshop. I'm leaving here November 5th. If all goes well and the weather cooperates, I will be home on the 15th. So there'll be no official live streams during that time. I can't, there very well could be other live streams, impromptu, out of the ordinary, just kind of whatever. But as far as the scheduled Thursday, Saturday, Sunday evening live streams won't be happening during those 10 days, but there's some really great pre-recorded interviews that'll be coming up and a couple of pre-recorded episodes. We give a shout out to Little Klondike Outdoors. Good to see you. Name I hadn't seen in a little while. Might have just missed it, but it's good to have you here this evening. So that's the first one. Number two, we're going to be taking pre-orders for the next batch of silver. It's going to be an inverted logo. We're not even sure when that's coming right now, probably sometime in the new year. But if you're interested, just reach out to me, therealtimcook@gmail.com, or you can just message here, message on social, join the Telegram group. Doesn't matter at all. Rachel Brown, poke the like button. Thank you very much. And everybody heed Chris Dixon's advice and make sure you smack that like button on your way in. Just helps us get out in front of a whole bunch more eyeballs. We got 10 people in on Telegram right now. Just see Josh Snarky, Connor Robertson, Karen Richardson. Good to have you guys. Always, always good. Ronnie, good to have you. All right. And number three, Christmas is coming up, guys. I know I said the C word, not a bad C word. My favorite time of the year, Becky and I's favorite time of the year, other than perhaps Halloween. But anyway, it's coming. So we are looking to do a National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation Watch Party as a group here with the workshop community. Maybe do another one or two as well, but just wanted to let you know, keep your eye out for that. Not sure if it'll be late November, early December, but we are going to make it work. It's going to be fun. Haven't done it before. Probably do it over on Float or maybe Twitch. Definitely not something we can record because, well, we can, but just not on YouTube, I guess. Chris wants to know, what is the beard for? Well, apparently Becky gave me permission to grow the beard again, so we are going to give it a go. We'll see. The old wings up here got to come off, but definitely time to try the beard out one more time. So we'll see. 40 likes over on TikTok. Good to have you, everybody. And also, we got episode 250 should be coming right around. For whatever reason, my strange infatuation with Groundhog Day. Always love it. And for whatever reason, not even sure how it ever started, but I like to run a contest around. All right. Everybody see me? Good to have you. Do not know what happened. We'll edit that out of the audio. I've never had StreamYard crash like that before. I guess we'll see what happens, guys. But just as we're logging in, somebody just signed up for the Patch of the Month Club. Shameless plug, but I just got a notification. maybe we broke the servers or something. But hey, Chicken Hawk, good to have you. Going to mention him a little bit further on down the road, guys. And if we've got a ton of good content creators in the workshop community. So if you want to show them the workshop love and you're one of the couple people that haven't checked out Chicken Hawk's channel over on YouTube, make sure you do that. All right. So we got a lot of stuff to cover this evening. The first one is the weekly workshop. It's Saturday. I wanted to tell you what I've been up to. Oh, thank you, little Klondike. I really appreciate that. So the weekly workshop, this is what I do most Saturdays when I have time, kind of fill you in on what I've been up to. Not to brag, not to boast, but just to let you know. Little Klondike said, sorry if I broke your camera. No worries. I like to share what's going on, hopefully to motivate other people, hopefully to give myself accountability, and hopefully for all of us to share in the fun and great things that are happening. So first off, I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit, but I managed, so you guys know every summer I make a list of things I want to get done. And I did not think that all of my outdoor jobs would get done this year. We were running out of time and things just weren't happening. And Colby, I'm confused. I'm sorry. Okay, good. Over there, somebody over on TikTok. Sorry, guys, I'll leave that alone. So my last two jobs were get the gas line and furnace hooked up in the garage and get my eaves troughs on. I call them eaves troughs just to make you laugh, but to get my gutters on. So I get a call about a week and a half ago because I decided I wasn't going to get the gutters put up this year myself. So I called a seamless gutter guy. He called. He said, hey, we're coming. Guys, I finally have gutters back on the house. So the south side of the house will not be an ice rink this year, at least not as bad as it was last year, because that was horrible. But better than that, I got my gas line in and I got my furnace hooked up and it's running, guys. I am going to have permanent, regular, steady heat in my garage, which is also my workshop, which is also my YouTube studio. Not where I shoot my live streams, but where I shoot all my tool review videos. I buried the line last weekend and I spent, I could probably talk about this for 20 minutes, but how I break down jobs and projects into smaller bite-sized pieces to make them a little more manageable. But I had to get a local place to thread a few pieces of pipe. Chris Dixon says, Tim's got gas. You want to believe I do? Hot gas at that. And so I had to take my furnace and reconvert it back to natural gas because it was propane before that. So now it's back to natural gas. Lines in, got line through the building, hooked up to the furnace. Then on the other end, had the line hooked up to the house, had to shut the gas off to the house for an hour or so while I did that. Forgot to turn the hot water heater back on. So didn't run out of hot water, but I got lukewarm before I realized it. Anyway, furnace is running. It's keeping it at a nice 50 degrees right now out there. That's where I'm going to keep it at for the winter for the most part. But it's going to be nice because it's going to melt the snow off my snow blowers. It's going to mean that I'm not going to get frostbite trying to work on gear in the wintertime. It is a huge step into the 21st century for the workshop. That's all I got to say about that. And John Palmer says, I was hoping I'd get my gutters on before you. Dang it. Well, here's the deal, guys. I had to hire somebody to do it. So I don't know if that really counts, but the job had to get done. So it's done. I am so thankful. They did an awesome job. They got it set up so they can put an IBC tote in the back and collect rainwater. I won't tell Justin Trudeau, I promise. 59 bags of leaves, guys. So this has got to be a new record. There's an empty property I've looked after for years. And my son and I went over and bagged up the leaves yesterday. And it's because it's so dry. Nothing's sticking to the ground. There's no moisture, no dampness. Nothing's getting patted down. We haven't had any snow yet. Got to whisper that word. 59 contractor size bags of leaves. It took me 2 full truck and trailer loads to get that to the compost pile at the dump. So we haul them out there. Then I cut the bags open. I know it's not the most environmentally friendly thing, but at least the leaves got into the compost pile out there. It was horrible, but it was a lot of work. Hey, Chris Dixon sending me likes. We got 50 likes over on TikTok tonight. We cleaned up a massive, messy, try to say that 10 times fast, massive, messy rental. So I don't know if I've ever shared this saying with you guys, but I like to say that every tenant's the perfect tenant until they're not. This guy was great for a year, paid his rent, paid it on time, and all of a sudden, he just stopped paying. And then it would be, oh, I'm going to be late. And then it'd be, oh, I'm going to be really late. And then it was a month late. I wasn't technically in charge of the money. It was a lady in BC, but it's all, anyway, turns out, of course, the answer to most of those questions is drugs. And that's what we found all through the place. Didn't destroy the place, but he left it in an almighty mess. We're just about got it back to rights, and we're going to get it on the, we're going to get it back on the market to rent. But, oh man, property management, guys, sometimes it makes me pull out the last bit of hair that I have left. I killed a DeWalt tool this week. So if you guys saw, I was sent a what they call a 9 amp hour flex volt knockoff battery. Now the battery didn't cause it, but I was doing some testing this week for that battery. I was doing some kind of baseline testing with the standard DeWalt 9 volt, had an 1.5 inch spade bit on it, and I was running through 4x4 with the very first DeWalt drill I ever owned. And all of a sudden I let out the magic smoke, and it all of a sudden sounded like there was marbles inside it. Oh yeah. So time for a new drill. So if anybody has any recommendations on a good DeWalt drill, I have lots of impact drivers, but it was my only drill. So it's time to get a new one. Started testing the CAT battery pack. That just keeps on giving. It has all features that you're just not going to see. I'm starting to extreme is acting up with my wife. And if it is, we may have to end that one a little bit early. So far, we're good. Yeah, so this CAT battery pack is incredible. I love that thing. I'm going to keep using it. It's got a cordless charger on one side. It's got a battery. It's got a booster pack for a vehicle on there. It has a compressor so that you can blow up your tires. All around, just really, really cool. I'm quite impressed. The production and construction of it is better than I thought it might be. We're getting our snow gear ready because they're calling for a foot of snow on Wednesday. Not really looking forward to that, but I always fret about the very first snowstorm of the year. I don't know why. It's just me. It's almost like I forget that I can handle it. I don't know. Prepping for my trip to Dallas. Hopefully this one will be as smooth as my trip to North Carolina, Tennessee, and back. But I learned a lot from the last. I've picked up a few extra pieces of kit to take with me, including an old-fashioned road atlas. Oh my God, what in the hell is that? A road atlas. Anyway, anybody younger than me is like, Tim, are you having a stroke? I don't know what that is. But we finished the Dahmer miniseries, guys. Becky and I did. We found quite a bit of time to sit down this week and watch some television together, which is something we haven't done in a long time. So I don't know if there's any interest. I know this is totally off topic from my show typically, but if there's enough interest in me doing a breakdown of that miniseries, I'd definitely be into it. I know Letty Lou's totally down for it. It could be a bonus episode. I don't know what it could be, but there's a lot in there. It was a really good, as far as a serial killer who kills people and eats them and that kind of thing can be entertaining, but it was definitely an entertaining show. Learned quite a bit from it. Some questions just aren't to be answered, but it was good. We watched a film called X, and if anybody's looking for a throwback to 1970s horror, this is it. It was really good. It's one of the higher rated horror films of the year. It is an homage to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. These guys, 5 or 6 young people, go in the woods or go into rural Texas and decide they want to make an adult film. And, it's definitely an adult film, but it is as gory as it gets. So if you're looking for a good horror film, that one was interesting. Just started the new book, guys. I thought I would share this one with you because people are always looking for recommendations. This one is called Earth Abides by George Stewart. It was written in the 40s. It's kind of classic science fiction. You can see Stephen King took some of his I don't know what you want to call it, but some of the form and some of the structure from The Stand came from this book. I'm sure it had to have, but it's really good. It's about a disease, a virus, whatever, that wipes out almost the entire planet, and just a few people putting it back together. Only maybe an hour into the book, but I'm going to share with you the book I finished this week with my thoughts on that. If you guys are looking for a good interview, holy cow. Nicole from Living Free in Tennessee, she had Joel Rawls on from Fortress Canine, good buddy of mine. And I think the title of the episode was something along the lines of Phoenix from the Ashes. And he shares a story that he's never shared online before about how he rebuilt his life in just over 4 years from something just horrible. And I don't want to give it away, but yeah, it's good. Oh man. Anyway, Chicken Hawk, just make sure Chicken Hawk says he's going to be watching X tonight at work. I would just make sure there's nobody around for certain scenes, if you know what I mean. Hey, I got a shout out, guys, to Brad. I'm bad at trying to pronounce his last name, but 5 times August is his artistic name. His crowdsourcing campaign for his vinyl record hit the 200 they needed in order to print. So they are going to be making a run of vinyl records. So I cannot wait to get his vinyl record on my hands. Going to be excited. Maybe we'll have to do a listening party. Not sure how we'll do that. I have to get permission from him, I'm sure. But I picked up, I had Dane D on a couple weeks ago talking about lock picking. I ordered a set of bump keys and a bump hammer and some castration rings for bowls. If you don't know how they're all connected, that's okay. I didn't either for a while. But those little rings go on the keys. And yeah, I'm testing. Man, I suck at it. It's frustrating. I almost broke a key off because I was being rammy. I need to slow down, grab my patience. But I'm committed to learning lock picking one way or the other, guys. And I'm going to find a way to get into these bank properties non-destructively. And I really hope bump keys are the way. But so far, I've had zero luck with it. But we'll see. Rachel Brown says X was definitely a WTF movie. Yeah, it was. And Conrad over on Telegram, give him a shout out. He messaged me earlier this week to remind me that, you guys know I'm kind of an Art Bell fan from his Coast to Coast days before he passed away. Coast to Coast still happens every year. Every day. It's got George Noory is the host now. It's 11 p.m. Mountain Time, 10 p.m. Pacific Time. Anyway, every single year at Halloween, they do Ghost to Ghost. And Monday evening is going to be this year's Ghost to Ghost episode. I just had to shout that out. I love that. I wanted to thank Conrad for sharing that with me. But he said the easiest way to listen to it is on the iHeartRadio app. It's on a ton of the AM radios over there, AM radio stations. So so next, guys, I wanted to share with you. You guys know I'm into post-apocalyptic fiction, and I finished a book this week called Lucifer's Hammer. Hadn't heard of it before. It's written by Larry Niven from the 1970s. And when Cam and Colby were on the show, you guys follow them from the Casual Preppers podcast, one of them had mentioned they were reading that. And of course, if you guys are like me, I'm always looking for another recommendation for apocalyptic fiction because I'm just a sucker for punishment. This was a good book. Now, here's the thing, guys. I have to say, what this book did different than any other post-apocalyptic fiction that I followed is it was absolutely split up into thirds. So any other book you read, let's take The Road, for instance, right? The Road, it takes there's a few flashbacks, but nothing real serious. But basically the entire bit of The Road is post-apocalyptic, right? How about Don't Look Up, the movie this year that came out last Christmas on Netflix? That was 100% pre-apocalypse. It was the entire thing was society collapsing leading up to it. Deep Impact, Armageddon, they're pre-apocalyptic movies, right? Well, this book was split into thirds. It was pre-apocalypse, apocalypse, and post-apocalypse. And he took his damn well time building up all three. Spent the first third of the book dealing with society and is it going to happen? Isn't it going to happen? It's dealing with a comet that's going to hit Earth and just the world building, the characters. If you're looking for a good story, I think it was about a 15-hour listen. I loved it. I'm not as big of a sci-fi fan as I used to be, but this was really, really good. You can see, I'm thinking William Fortune got some influence from this book. I know he had mentioned Alas Babylon. This one's in that same kind of vein, but this is a weather event, a weather-related apocalypse. Very similar to a lot of the shit that happens in 2012. But it's just great. California gets snow in the end. I don't want to ruin it, but there's crazy religious types. There's cannibals. It deals with all that stuff. And yeah, if you're looking for a good read or a good listen, this one definitely tickled my fancy. I'll probably do a a more in-depth follow-up, or maybe at the end of the year, guys, maybe I'll do like a top 10 or a top 20 books that I read this year that I really enjoyed, and maybe we'll make it into a 3 or 4 part series, because I know, well, we have the book club, and shameless plug again, but if you're looking for good content, we're not doing one this month, but next month we are, because I'm traveling a lot in November, but we've been covering the Going Home book series. But one thing people are always asking in there is, hey, I ran out of books. What can I listen to? What can I read? So we're definitely always trying to share that with you. And this one was really good. And I wanted to share, did I print it? I did print it, and I don't know where I put it, but it's the time box concept. I ran into this today. It was a TikTok video, and it was really, okay. So you guys know, well, maybe you don't, but I struggle with time management. I'm always spending time on things I shouldn't. Nicole Sauce talks about the My 3 things, where you pick the 3 things that have to be done importantly, the most important. For me, I like the 1-3-5 method, where you pick your most important, 3 semi-important, and then 5 menial tasks, and you get all those done in the day. And when I follow that, it really, really works. Shout out to my brother across the ocean, Jaggy Thistle. Good to have you. And he said, thanks. Oh, you are very welcome, brother. Always love hearing from you. So anyway, time management, organization, I struggle with it all the time. And you pick your method, whatever it is, any of them will work as long as you stick with them, right? For me, that's been a bit of my problem. So this time boxing was kind of cool. They were talking about, it's one of them TikTok videos where they say, hey, this is what CEOs do to be successful. And basically, the one thing that it added that all these other formulas don't have is a brain dump. So what you do is, it's got a few different boxes on the screen, and I printed one, and I was going to show you guys, and I do not know where I put it. So I need to apologize for that, because, oh, here we go. All right. So I want to see if you can see this right here. So this to-do list is your brain dump. So basically what you do is you sit down and take 5 minutes, and you write everything that's on your brain, anything you're thinking you should get done this week, or today, sorry. Write it all down. Doesn't matter how stupid, how inconsequential, whatever it is. And brain dumping works really, really well. I'm going to show this over on TikTok as well. There you go, guys. Brain dumping for me works really well, because you get it all on paper. Once it's down there, it's like, okay, now it's safe. I can let my brain focus on the things it needs to focus on. And then from there, we'll show you. Then you've got the 3 priorities right there. So you take the top 3 things for the day, and you put those in there. And then you can add more lists. You could do the 1-3-5 method if you want, but whatever. The brain dump is the big part. So get it all on paper so that you can remember, so that you don't forget the things you want to get done. And then you're like, okay, well, this is stupid. I don't need to do this. And then it breaks down the day into 1-hour time blocks right here. And you just work your way in. You put all those to-dos in there. And what I find is, when you have something specific on paper like that, when you work through those things, all of a sudden you're like, well, shit, I got way more done than I thought. Now I got time for some of those other brain dump items that I didn't touch earlier on today. And then you fit them in. But I really like that. I just wanted to share with you guys that concept of brain dumping, because when I'm putting together a presentation for, when I get up to speak, that's what I do. Things bounce around in my head for about a month. That's kind of the point I've been at for a little while for Jack's presentation. But things have to bounce around, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, everything needs to get dumped out. And this is it's a good process for me. Get it on paper, and then it feels like it's safe, so that my brain can relax and work on something else. One more thought for you guys before we get into the rechargeable battery thing. But do you know that in a couple of more days, I can say there's 60 days left in 2022. So basically right now, I think there's 63, 64 days left this year. So 10 out of 12 months have gone by. Now, I don't say that to scare you, because we've all used our time. Every one of us have had, January through October of 2022 to do with it as we saw fit. And if we are doing good things, bad things, wasting it, doesn't matter. But that time has gone. But we got 2 months left this year. So there's a few things around this time of the year that I like to start thinking about. And honestly, the big one for me is to start thinking about next year's goals. Don't kick yourself in the ass if you didn't get something done, because that does nobody any good. But start focusing, saying, okay, just again, Do that thing where ideas sit in the back of your brain and they bounce around. Just start thinking about these goals. Have a brain dump or a notepad in your phone. Anytime you think of a goal, whether it's a big, hairy, audacious goal or something inconsequential that most people wouldn't worry about, write it down in your notepad. Start putting them down. Just thinking about them, but get them on paper so those goals don't disappear. And then what housekeeping items do you have left? You got 2 months left to get the last of the items done on your to-do list. I got lucky this year for my summer items. I finished them less than a week away from our first snowfall. So I'm excited to have that done. Was there other things I wanted to get done that I didn't? Sure. One job was I wanted to put a cement walkway in on the south side of the house. And I just took that off my list about halfway through because I realized I was overcommitting myself and I wasn't going to get it done. So start making a list of goals for next year and then see what kind of stuff you can get knocked out in the next 2 months. Do everything you can to get your goals, your vision for your life done. Now, here's the thing. Every year, we start the year with a vision. We start the year with, a word of the year, whatever it happens to be. And sometimes that changes throughout the year. Or sometimes, once the year ends, well, it's time to reevaluate. But here, take a look and say, okay, is my overall mission statement, whatever it happens to be, is my mission for what I live for, what I get out of bed in the morning, is it still on track? Is it where I want to be? Am I heading in the right direction? Or, hey, do I need to change? Do I all of a sudden, I don't want to, maybe I don't want to build a business the way I thought I do. Maybe I just want to go back and wash windows and clean toilets, or maybe I want to go work for somebody for a while or whatever. But look at your overall mission in life and say, okay, am I heading in the right direction? And if I am, just pile it on, add the goals for next year that build, right? We do that whole spiral thing where we improve, and we just work our way up. And then here's another one that we don't always think about, but start thinking about balance, guys. This has been on my brain for a while. A couple years ago, I was listening to Jack Spirko today from the Survival Podcast, and he was talking about how he has, he does 5 episodes a week, but he has worked it out now so that he only has to work 4 days a week because he does his Friday episode on Thursday. And he was talking about how people need to work that into their life the best they can. And I realized a couple years ago, or maybe, I guess it was last summer, so about 18 months ago, I decided I wasn't going to work weekends anymore. Now, it doesn't mean I don't work the occasional weekend, but what it means is I don't schedule shit on the weekends anymore. Saturday and Sunday are Tim days, family days. I get to do what I want to do. I get to work on my projects or work on the daycare stuff or whatever it happens to be. So if you feel like you have been balls to the wall committed, because you guys have heard me say, talent, hard work, and obsession. So, hard work beats talent, but obsession beats hard work. And if you want to build something great, you have to be obsessed with it. And that means for a while, your life has to get out of balance because you're going to put everything you have into whatever it is you are fucking passionate about right now. But eventually you got to think, can I hold this up? Can I keep this up? Do I need to bring something back into balance? And it could be, maybe I haven't been, spending as much time with my family, or maybe I haven't spent as much time sitting down watching horror movies with my wife, right? Whatever it happens to be. But just think about where your life's been and think about, because when we get that kind of light at the end of the tunnel, focus on a goal, on something special we want to get done, balance is not typically a side effect of that. So just think about it. As you're coming into the end of the year, is there anything I can do to help balance out the life that'll help? If I've been absolutely crazy doing this, maybe it's time to commit a little bit of time to something fun. Just thoughts. Jaggy Thistle says, shush your mouth. He said it was a blink of an eye ago. It was heat wave. Summer was happening. He said, and we're pretty close to the clocks going back here. Oh, in 35 minutes, the clocks go back there. So they still do it different. Ours is November 6th, I believe. So friggin' Europeans. No, I'm just kidding, Jaggy. And he said, Jaggy said businesses, I assume in Scotland where he is talking about having a 4-day a week now instead of 5, but still earning same pay. If you can get the same amount of production out of people, or even if you got to work a couple extra hours a day, do 10-hour days instead of 8, I'd be down for that if I was still working for the man. But whatever it is, figure out your idea of balance, guys. And that's what I've been thinking about going into next year. I don't know. Will it be? I doubt that that's going to be my word of the year. I really don't, because I have my suspicions that there's going to be a lot of travel involved in next year. And that's okay, because I'm building something great. My wife is building something great, and we are building something great together. But for me, balance means I don't want to travel by myself much anymore. And me and the missus are going to make things work so that when I travel around to speak, we're going to be together. And that's going to be a part of it. But it's coming anyway. And John Palmer says, what's this fun thing you keep talking about? When Becky and I first got married, actually before we were even married, we lived on a road called the Marshalltown Road. And I know this is going to blow you away, but it was in a little village called Marshalltown, and it was a dirt road. And it was a dirt road that had, like, straight up almost 90-degree inclines on the road. And we drove a little Dodge Neon. And every day we'd go home. Off to the left was this little house that was half built, that had been in, it was absolute disarray. Hadn't been touched in 50 years. And it looked like half of an old style Dutch windmill. That's what the house looked like. So years later, I get talking to Harry Conrad. He used to fix appliances. And he said, do you know the story behind that house? I said, no, I don't. And he said, anyway, it wasn't a Dutch. It was a German guy. And he said, he was a rough cookie. He ended up dying alone, what everybody said. He was a rough cookie. He said, when we were kids, we had a game we played, and it was called Hard Work. So that's the fun stuff you're talking about, John, hard work. But some of us just, that's what we enjoy. I assume that guy, he just enjoyed hard work, or at least he liked to brag that he did anyway. Jaggy says, quality of life is a must between work and play. If you work yourself to the bone, you have to have time for yourself instead of money for the tax man. 100% true. When I first started in the oil patch, we worked 11 days on, 3 days off. And I was warned early on, they're going to ask you to work your weekend. They legally couldn't, but they would. And a guy said, don't say yes. I said, well, okay. But I was new and I wanted to make the money. So I did. So I took that first weekend, and I ended up working, it's like I forget what it was. Anyway, it was 140 hours in 2 weeks or something. It was a lot. And I thought, oh, this is going to be great. And then I get my paycheck, and I didn't make any more money than I did when I worked 11 days instead of the 14 that I worked, because I went into another tax bracket, and it absolutely ruined me. Doesn't mean don't work hard. Just saying, sometimes you need balance. So the next time those extra days came around, yeah, no, I needed some time off, because you're going to burn yourself out. So anyway, what you all came here for this evening, I know this was a kind of an all over the place episode for you, but I enjoy sharing with you what's going on. But Brian Alexovich from the Lots Project, if you don't follow him, make sure you do. YouTube, podcast, all of that. But I got a message sometime yesterday, and he asked me, it was about rechargeable batteries. And if you guys know, I'm rather passionate about power storage, backup power, all that stuff. But he said, hey, do they sell any prepackaged sets of Eneloop batteries with a charging station? Looking for the whole shooting match for Christmas. Looking for a couple dozen AA's, couple dozen AAA's, and a couple 9-volt with charging station. And then he goes on to say, hey, would it be better to piece it together or find a kit? So I thought, you know what? I put together a fairly lengthy response to him, and hey, I think I should share. It's been a while since since I've talked about rechargeable batteries. I looked, it's been almost 18 months since I did a video showing you guys what I have for rechargeable batteries. It hasn't changed a lot. I've added a little bit to it from recommendations from people, but we're going to do a breakdown. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about where I'm heading with it. And my thoughts on it. Actually, we're also going to do a breakdown of Eneloop standard, the white ones versus the professional, the black ones. Are they worth it? Maybe a little more than they used to be, but we'll get to that. John says he's wondering where Brian's been. Brian has been busy. Brian is living the life that he said he was going to live. Him and Corey are on the road doing the full-time RVing thing, and they're getting ready to head down to see Josh in Texas to help him butcher some animals. It's going to be great. I'm excited for them. So, all right, let's start with this, guys. In the preparedness field, we're always, I always say one of the big things is prepare for the things that are most likely to happen. And what is more likely to happen than your average routine power outage? kind of 2 to 4 hours, middle of the night, whatever, you wake up, you have no power, you need light. So, and of course, everything we have nowadays runs off of batteries, right? Chris Dixon says, is it just me or have rechargeable batteries almost doubled in price? My friend, it is not just you. We're going to talk about that tonight. So first off, I'm going to show you. So we need somewhere. Okay, my kids use batteries a lot. When they were playing Fortnite, a ton. They were going through a ton of AA batteries. Now, the Xbox controllers, they didn't like the rechargeable batteries. So the first thing I keep is not rechargeable batteries, but this is part of my battery kit. This is a 48 pack of Kirkland AA batteries. It's the cheapest. It's the best price to quality I have found anywhere. There you go on TikTok as well, guys. But I keep 2 or 3 of these packs all the time because now Stephen Harris, honestly, a lot of what I have here was built around Stephen Harris's recommendations when he used to be on the Survival Podcast. The guy's a genius when it comes to backup power, and I learned a lot from him. But he always said, let your kids use your rechargeable batteries so they get comfortable with them. And there is a reason for that, and I get it. But the other problem is that you put the these rechargeable, these expensive rechargeable batteries into the Xbox controller, and then, oh, I need new batteries. Whoom, into the garbage it goes. Doesn't always happen, but it happens on occasion. My dog got a hold of one of these Eneloops one day, chewed it up pretty good. And they are expensive. I broke them down in US dollars tonight. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Chicken Hawk says, yes, the kids keep leaving the flashlight on. They pay for themselves in just a month. Yeah. So, oh yeah, one more thing about these Kirkland. If you look online, a lot of people say these are basically Duracell batteries, and the kids love them. They've worked great in they've worked really, really well in any of those electronics we use. And to be honest, they've worked a little bit better than the Eneloops. I don't know why, but the Xbox controllers didn't love the Eneloop batteries. So that is what it is. So let's move on. So first off, I talk about standardizing rechargeable batteries. AA and AAAs, everything in your house just about takes AAs and AAAs. And for a couple of years, that's all I had for batteries on hand. So here, first off, and I will put links when I'm done to all of this, but this is a battery storage box. I don't know, soft-sided. It has high density or kind of medium density foam in here. And you put all of your, hey, Arizona Renaissance Man says Costco pays Duracell to put their label on it. I believe it. So here's the setup I bought. I got this on Amazon. It was not very expensive at all. I put my AAs in here, and then it's got room for a bunch of AAAs over here. You figure out how many batteries you want to have on hand, and then buy yourself a kit that'll hold more than that, because you're going to end up with more. Now, my AAAs, I need to upgrade, because AAAs are so small, they tend to disappear. They tend to be in TV remotes. You drop the TV remote, they go missing. You know the story. Anyway, now one thing I do, when they're fully charged, I put them with the positive side, the little nipple side up. And when they're dead, I flip them over and I put them with the flat side up so I know which ones are dead. Because I have an 8-port charger, so I tend to charge my batteries 6 or 8 at a time, just because there's no sense. You know, I'm not going to let this whole thing get dead, but I might let a third of it go down and then charge them up with the charger. So this is the storage thing that I have. Now, this one came with one of these. There's all kinds of, hey, Freddie, TikTok After Dark join. Good to have you. Now, here's the next thing you need. You need a battery tester of some sort or another. And I will show you how this works. You basically put the battery in here, squeeze it together, and then you'll see that goes into the green, the good, backwards right there, Tim. There is the battery charger. That's it. These things are dirt cheap. I bought one for like $4 on eBay one time. This one even has a 9-volt charger built into the top right there. But I mean, there's nothing to those. This one, this battery pack that holds them came with it. So now my go-to rechargeable batteries, I'm going to show you. I prefer right there, sorry guys, the white Eneloop batteries. And John Palmer, you're probably not wrong. I don't have a specific spot where I keep my charger plugged in all the time, but that's a good idea. He says he just puts his dead ones in the charger. I use the white Eneloop batteries. They're made by Panasonic. They are Prepper's Choice. They're still made in Japan, despite some of the rumors. Panasonic has it on their website anyway. And Japanese rechargeable batteries have it all over the Chinese rechargeable batteries. Jaggy says, do not forget the 18650s. They get in a lot of the top end flashlights right now, and vape, whatever vape pens are called now too. So I'm going to chat about that a little bit at the end, because I just ordered a new charger that will take anything from AAA batteries all the way up to 18650s. It'll take 4 of them. Anyway, when it gets here, I'm going to do a whole breakdown of it, because I'm always looking for new. If I can find something that's a little bit better so that I can test it out and share it with you guys. So anyway, here are, so there you go. And those are the white Eneloop AAAs as well. Now, you might say, well, Tim, what about the black Eneloops? Well, I have some of those too. Oh, maybe I don't have any AAAs right now, but that's the black Eneloops. Those are the professional ones. Now, what's better? We're going to deal with that too. Chris Dixon says CR 2032s and LR 44 batteries are the equivalent in your battery stores too. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but right there. So in this package, there is this little pull away area. And I bought a couple of full packs of the coin cells, the CR2032s. They fit in just about any of those small items like scales, thermometers, things like that. They're great to have, and they're dirt cheap. I bought the Amazon Basics, and I keep them right in the back there. And when I get down to 4 or 5, I buy a couple of more packages of them. But yes, have them. They are cheap insurance, and these ones are good. I bought some from Dollar Tree, Dollarama. Not so good. We'll talk about that too. So, soft-sided rigid case to store them in. AA, AAA batteries is what I work with. Having a tester is really important as well. Having some disposables. These are important. Oh, yeah, key fobs. Oh, wow, yeah. Chris Dixon says most car key fobs take the 2032 as well. It's kind of the universal small coin battery nowadays. And maybe someday we're going to be using atomic waste for those. I read about that a couple years ago. It sounded pretty interesting. So now the next thing is, what about chargers? So here's the first one, guys. This is the Powerex MHC 800S. This was the Stephen Harris special from almost 10 years ago. This thing has been around. Now, what do I like about this? I mean, it still works great, but it has 8 ports. You can put AA's or AAA's in here. You don't have to do them in pairs. It doesn't have to be full. It can be individuals. There's really no special features to it, but it's a brick. It holds up well. It gets a little bit hot. It charges very fast. It'll charge AA's in like an hour and a half. And this thing is almost 10 years old, and I still use it. But I've been looking for something new. The biggest downside to this charger right here, it's still cheap. It's like $40 or something. I'll give you all the prices at the end here. But if you want to see, see that charging port? It has a proprietary, almost looks like a serial charging port. I'm not a big fan of proprietary charging ports, because you know what happens? My dog gets a hold of that wire, or I drop it, or I jam it in a car door and I ruin it. And now this is junk. So what I much prefer is something like that right there. Just your standard kind of AC adapter that you can steal off of any one of your kids' toys in a pinch. We'll talk about this charger in a minute. John Palmer says that's what he uses as well. Yes, this has been a good go-to the Powerex charger for years, and it still works. And if you're wondering, should I get it? I still would say yes. It's also branded Maha on the back, M-A-H-A. I don't really know where these names come from. There's better, kind of sleeker models nowadays, but this is still, let's see, I put the price down here to let you know, see if I can find it. I don't. Anyway, this charger, I think was just over $40 Canadian right now. I mean, it was expensive back in the day. There's newer models, but this does the trick. But I wanted to upgrade. So last year I decided I wanted something fancier, something a little more high tech. So I switched over to this guy, and this is also the Powerex, and it's the MHC 9000 Pro. And what this thing does, this is really cool. It has a really big LCD screen, so it looks all fancy, but it only takes 4 batteries. It's still fairly fast charging, but this is also a conditioner. So this is it right here. Hi, Big Al, just dropped over into Telegram or into TikTok. So what this will do, this will charge them. It'll break in new batteries. It will discharge them. It'll refresh old batteries. It can bring dead batteries back to life. and it will analyze batteries. So it will tell you the exact capacity of batteries. In a pinch, you can even use this to take these and calculate the milliamp capacity of an alkaline battery. Not recommended, but you can do it. So this is, 2 is 1, 1 is none. Now I went looking for the third charger. Actually, one more quick thing. Like I said, the reason I like this is it'll take just one of your standard AC adapter chargers. The next one I ordered has some USB capabilities built into it as well. Not quite what I was looking for. I had to make some concessions, but I'm pretty excited about the next one that comes. I'm not going to tell you about it until I get some testing behind in it, but this one is cool, and it'll allow you to choose the charging rate. So if you want to go with a slower rate, and it'll fill the battery full. Oh, thank you, John. Sorry, I was a little off on the price, guys. The Powerex is $69.45, a little more than I thought, but it's still cheaper than a lot of the other high-end chargers out there, or unless you talk about this. Anyway, but yeah, so there's this one here. It'll let you set the rate individually of each battery if you want to go that crazy with it. But so this was another one that I really like. And the third one I had goes back to Brian's question. Do they make kits of Eneloop batteries? So first off, the answer is yes. And second off, they're not really worth it because you pay a premium when you get everything together. The only kit that's really around a lot anymore is the professional kit. That's the one you'll see in the thumbnail for the YouTube video tonight. And it comes with a hodgepodge of AA, AAA batteries, and then just a standard, your standard fare plug in the wall charger that takes 4 batteries. I have one of those. I couldn't find it before the show started tonight, so I didn't bother bringing it down. But you can picture it. It's just your standard Energizer Duracell Eneloop, plugs into the wall, has a little green light on it, takes 4 batteries, AA or AAA. Slow as shit to charge, but it works. In a pinch, it's not a bad charger. So the kits, are they worth it? Not really, because like I said, you pay a little premium to get some extra stuff. The Pro kit came in a handy dandy hard plastic case. I went back and read my script for the video I did on that a year and a half ago, and I said I won't keep the batteries in it. I'm not wrong. I still have the case, but all the batteries go into this guy right here because I want them all centralized. So let's break down, well, there's a few things here, but let's talk about the price because Chris Dixon is not wrong. So all these prices are in freedom units, freedom dollars, because of course 90% of my audience is American, so I wanted to do them in American prices. Now, I have found in the past the cheapest way to buy the Eneloops used to be in the 24-pack brown cardboard boxes. They were good. Oh, sorry. Paul over on TikTok asked, can you name the AA and AAA specific batteries again? Yes. They are Eneloop. So it's like envelope without the V. They're made by Panasonic. So it's E-N-E Eneloop, L-O-O-P, made by Panasonic. They're all over. I'll see if I can get them in close here so you can see one too. If you can see right there, Eneloop, E-N-E-L-O-O-P. Hopefully that helps. They are by far the best. At least you pay a little premium for them, but they have stood the test of time. They've been around well over a decade. They've gone through multiple iterations, gotten better each time. Panasonic bought the brand at one point, but they kept the manufacturing in Japan, which is it's important. And Paul says, Ireland, by the way. Well, good to have you, sir. Always appreciate people from across the pond. Okay, so first off, AA Eneloop standard batteries right now. If you can get them for under $3 a battery, you're doing well. $297 in a 16-pack on Amazon. The 24s used to be a little cheaper. They're not anymore. Anything in the 16 and 24, you'll pay the same price. So get out there, look for these. $297 right now is the best price on Amazon per battery for AA's. $3 a battery. Can you imagine? AAA's. That's these guys right here. They are $2.12 a battery. So if you can get them for around $2.15 a battery, you're doing well. Again, the 16-pack is the best value without spending everything you have. So yeah, around $2.12. Now, I was paying that price Canadian a couple of years ago, maybe even a little less than $2 a battery for AAA's. And now they're over $2.12 American, which is going to put them stinking close to $3 Canadian, but that's a whole nother story. Now, the thing is, though, guys, everybody wants to know, are the Black Beauties worth more? I mean, are they worth the premium you pay for them? So Eneloop Pros, that's these black ones. And we'll talk about the difference between the white, standards and the black professional Eneloop batteries. AA's, $4.06. So if you can get them around $4 a battery, you're doing well. AAA's, $2.80. So, you know, in that 275, 285 mark right now. Again, the 16 packs are the best money spent to cost comparison you're going to find. So they are right now around 25% more for the professional than the standard Eneloops. Are they worth it? Well, first off, I want to share something with you guys. 18 months ago, when I first bought the professional Eneloop battery kit, the difference between professional and standard Eneloops was 40%. So inflation or whatever is catching up, but these are going up faster in price than the professional batteries. And I'm sure this has to do with this being a premium and people not wanting to pay too much. But right now, these used to be 40% difference in price, and now they're down to 25%. But I'm still not sure. I'm not switching to professional brand batteries anytime soon because I don't do a lot of high-end photography like a lot of people, so I don't have a need for that, that big drain. But let's do a breakdown, okay? So the white Eneloops have 2,000 milliamps. Right here, guys. The white ones have 2,000. The black ones have 2,550 milliamps. So you're getting about a 20%. So in the same battery size, you're getting 20% more power in the black batteries than the white. So right there, you're still paying a 5% premium for a little bit more power. Okay. Storage life. The white Eneloops will lose around 30% of their storage capacity over a 10-year period, where the black ones will lose 15% in the first year. It's kind of a weird way they compare them. I'm not really sure why they do that. But anyway, so the white ones will gradually lose up to 30% over a 10-year period, whereas the black ones will lose 15% in the first year. So if you're into long-term storage, white is the way to go. And cost-wise, like I said, 25% more for the black over the white. So capacity, here's the thing. You're going to pay 25% more for 20% more capacity. And the recharge. Oh, the other thing, see if I can find it here for you guys. The amount of recharges. Here's the other one. Not that either of us are ever going to touch this, but the black professional batteries, the ones you pay 25% more, have 500 recharge cycles built in. 500. The white ones, you ready for this? 2,000 recharge cycles. So in theory, you're going to get 4 times the life out of these white batteries that you are out of the black batteries, and you're paying 25% less for the white batteries. If you're okay with with a 20% decrease in capacity, I'm all about these white Eneloops. Unless somebody can make a case for me. Oh, Paul said, oh man, 4 AA batteries right now in Ireland are £22.60 for 4 AA's on Amazon. Wow, holy crap. Look, yeah, if they have bigger packs, you might save a little more, but these are not cheap batteries, guys. But thank you, Paul. I appreciate that from across the pond. We got a Scotsman, and an Irishman in here tonight, so you guys please don't fight. We all get along here. But yeah, so there's your comparison, guys. So you're going to get 25% more cost, 20% more capacity in the black, 4 times the recharge rate with the white batteries, and the white batteries have a slightly better long-term storage. So unless you're doing something that requires a ton of capacity in a short period of time, and the big one that I have seen is photographers that do a lot of flash photography, of course, that can be, those digital devices can be a high drain item. So if anything else, that to me, I still think the white batteries are the way to go. Kind of I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of funny that we'll just leave it at that, right? So as far as, and yeah, I almost forgot the other part of Brian's question. What about 9-volt batteries? So if my buddy Chicken Hawk's still on here, this was 100% based on his recommendation. He uses EBL rechargeable batteries right there, guys. Now, the thing is, Eneloop does not make, or at least at the time, I couldn't find any rechargeable 9-volt batteries. A lot of people warned me. They said, don't use these. Your house will burn down and your smoke detector won't work because the nominal voltage isn't high enough. Well, all I can tell you is I've been using these EBL 9-volt rechargeable batteries for a year and a half now, and they last about the same time as an Everready. Oh my, are Everready even still a thing? The blue Panasonics, the no-name ones that you typically buy. These have worked great. I believe I've replaced them in my smoke detectors once each in a year and a half. So yeah, Chicken Hawk says he's still loving them as well. So these are significantly cheaper. I really didn't need to buy the 4-port, but you know me. Bigger is better. My daughter, Ollybird 2.0, is on TikTok. Thanks for all the likes, sweetheart. I really didn't need to go with a 4-port charger, but I did. The thing about this charger is, so it's a shared charge. So if you put one in here, this is going to charge 4 times as fast as if you have 4 batteries in here. Now, I want to show you the back here. That's a micro USB port, which I'm a big fan, as you know. Renegade Butcher over on TikTok says bigger is better. That's what she said, my friend. So micro USB on the back. I like USB. You can plug it in wherever. These 9-volt batteries feel like they're made out of cardboard. There is nothing to them, but they've worked really, really well. Paul 87 says, how do you feel about the True Light version? The True Light version? I'm not sure. Maybe I might have misread that. Sorry, guys. If you can clarify for me, Paul, I'll definitely answer your question for you. Anyway, so this one here, like I said, oh, yes. John Palmer wants to know, do you have that on your site? Yeah, so I do, guys. Shameless plug once again. But I don't talk about this site as often as I should. So normally I tell people, if you want to go to my website, go to toolmantim.co. But if you go to toolmantim.shop, that will take you right to where all of my recommended products are. Links to basically everything you've seen here will be there. So toolmantim.shop, and you can find all of my Amazon affiliate links and all my recommended products. So I don't put the Toolman Tim seal of approval on anything unless I've tested it and used it for a while. And this has definitely been really, really good. Oh, the light version, few beers. Appreciate it, Paul. Yeah, well, I'm halfway through my first old fashioned of the evening. So yeah, as far as rechargeables go, this guy's been great. Like I said, year and a half in, when one of us burns toast or leaves something or leaves a pizza box in the oven, then turns the oven on to preheat and the cardboard catches fire, smoke detectors still work. So I haven't had any problem with them at all. I like them. 4 was enough for me. I believe we have 2 smoke detectors in the house. Maybe we have 3. Anyway, I have 1 extra battery all the time that's fully charged, and I've never once needed more than 1 at a time to charge. Now, here's the thing. I always talk about standardizing on batteries. And for years, I said, that's it. I'm only a AA and a AAA man. But the problem is there's no reason to put yourself in a corner if you don't have to. And I love my AA's. I love my AAA's. I use them for everything. But the Coin 2032 batteries, they have a purpose. And 9-volt batteries have a purpose as well. Can I buy smoke detectors that take AA, AAA's? Yes, I can. Are they worth the premium just so I can be a stubborn son of a bitch and not buy 9-volt batteries? No, they're not. Here's the other thing. When I started doing, Hunter says I don't have anything in 9-volt. Hey, Hunter, good to have you. So here, yes, if you don't, then you don't need 9-volt. But for me, I needed a bunch of testing equipment when I first started getting into, as I've gone along and built different reviews, I buy different things. So I have a sound meter, a decibel meter. I have a light meter. What else do I have? There's about, a carbon monoxide meter. I've got a bunch of different things I use when I'm testing devices. Every single one of them, for some damn reason, takes 9-volt batteries. There's usually the occasional AA model, but you spend way too much money for that. Oh, thermal gun. Thank you, Chicken Hawk. What a good man. What would I do if I didn't have you guys around? So yeah. So anyway, what it would have happened was I'd spend 3 or 4 times as much to buy things that I didn't need to buy. So instead, I sucked it up. I put my tail between my legs and I bought this 4-pack EBL 9-volt rechargeable battery system, and it served me well. So hope that helps. What else we got here? Yes, John Palmer says, everyone remember to like and subscribe if you're not. I always appreciate that, guys. Jaggy says, is the states going to standardize USBs for micro iPhone Type-C over this side of the pond? Yeah, so if you guys haven't followed, Number one, you guys know how I feel about the government, and I do not like the government forcing anything, because what happens is they stifle creativity if they do that, but that's another story for another day. But the EU government has told Apple that they need to switch to the USB-C standard. Now, I don't love that they're forcing them, but the side effect is that everything's going to be standardized into USB-C. I love USB-C, but a lot of the third-party companies are dragging their ass with that. So I went looking for a USB-C AA, AAA battery charger, and there's a couple out there, but most of them are still USB micro for no reason. But anyway, I'm trying to standardize on USB-C, and it's coming. Arizona Renaissance Man, here's the deal. Rechargeable C's and D's are available, but something kind of cool. You can buy sleeves from Eneloop or third-party vendors that will take AA's or AAA's. They'll slide inside and allow you to use these rechargeables as C's and D's in your devices. So if you don't want to buy a bunch of extra batteries, you just want to have an oversized sleeve or whatever, then yeah. Paul says USB-C is already here on Apple. Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't love that the government forced them to do it, because here, okay, tangent time, guys. Do I think USB-C? Do I think everything should be USB-C standardized right now? Well, I love the fact that it can be. I love to have that option. But think about it for a minute. If the government forces all phone companies to go 100% USB-C, we could miss out on something, because all of a sudden, Apple, Android, they say, well, we're USB-C. We don't have to innovate anymore. So maybe we're going to never get a faster connection, or maybe we're not going to get a better connection, or maybe we're going to miss out on some sort of technology simply because the government said, this is the best option right now. Everybody do it. And in the past, when that's happened, creativity gets stifled. The free market choice gets stifled. Anyway, I love USB-C. I wish in my in my finite viewing of the world, I wish Apple was already USB-C. But does that mean they should be forced to? No, they shouldn't. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother thing, right? Jaggy says that's exactly, yep, you can do that too. Turn a AA into, or a AAA into a AA. They have sleeves to do that as well. No, I have not. Tommy Newell just asked me, have you seen Honda's new 3250 EU briefcase generator? Honda also announced they are no longer manufacturing lawnmowers. No shit. I did not know that. Well, let's see if we can bring this up, guys. This is exciting. A briefcase style generator, and it's 3250 EU briefcase. Let's see what we can find, guys. I would love to find out about that. Yeah, so John Palmer says, exactly. So here, and we all know we're in, we're all voluntarists and anarchists and friends here. Greg Arcade, my buddy, good to have you. If you guys heard that intro tonight, he is the man that recorded that song. He's a fellow Canadian. Haven't seen him around in a while, but it's good to have you in here, my friend. John Palmer says, if the customers ask for it, the company will do it. Leave the government out of everything. Amen, my brother. Chicken Hawk says, there goes the battery show. Now it's a generator show. We'll slide back. For some reason, let's see if we can bring this up here. I just want to see if we can find it while we're talking. Shoot, no. You know what, guys? I will. Chris Dixon says, we drink every time Tim says generator. We're all in fucking trouble if we do that. I'll do some research on that. Thank you. Where are we? Tommy Newell there. I'll do some research on this generator, and I'll get back to you, and we'll do a follow-up, because I'm always excited to find out about new generators, and Hondas are what they are. Renegade said, I heard there were sleeves to make your small battery fit a bigger slot. I'm not sure if he's being a smartass or not, but yes, there is. If you're having trouble with size and it needs to be a little bit bigger to fit into the proper slot, then yes, they do make add-ons that will help with that, my friend. Paul says, super fast charging on Android as it is, though. Yes, I have no problem with super fast charging. I love all of that. And Hunter says, USB-C is better than micro. I don't know how many I've bought because they wear out. Yes. Yeah, the micro, there is something about that micro connection. It's that, I don't even know what you want to call it. It has those two angles on one side, and so it's a little bit uneven, and I find the weight always pulls down. I have broken more USB micro ports than anything else over the years. I had a beautiful Bluetooth speaker that charged with that USB micro connection, and it just wore out after a while. John Palmer says water only. And Jaggy says, I'm into drinking into that, Dixon, especially if it's a homemade special drink. Yes. And yeah, love you too, Greg Arcade. Great. Yes. And hopefully we can get Greg to come out this way sometime. I would love that. And Jaggy says, love the mug, Tim. Can you buy that from you? Better than giving Pepsi Max free advertising. Yes. If you go to CanadianCoffeeCompany.ca, yeah, another one of my side hustles type thing. Right now, they're the only place that sells this gear. We're going to have other spots where you can pick it up. But yeah, that's the place to go for sure. Ask anybody who's picked up these mugs. I love them. They're a little on the pricey side, but they work really well. And Paul says Honda for VTEC, Briggs and Stratton for generators. And am I drinking through a stir stick? It's a small drinking straw. It keeps me from drinking too fast because yeah, you can imagine. I go way too long, end up drinking way too fast. And then, yeah, Angela says, hey, happy Saturday. Good to have you. Always good to have everybody here. So yeah, as far as rechargeable batteries, I have a few plans going forward. Number one, I just ordered a new charger. Like I said, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag a little bit. I've been digging around a bit. So it plugs into the wall. So it's an AC charger. But what I love about it is it comes with a USB output port on the back. So in a pinch, you can take 4 AA batteries, throw it into your charger, and then plug something into it and charge from it. So you can basically use all of this stored capacity and charge your cell phone or anything else and use your plug-in-the-wall charger as a battery pack. Yeah, it's awesome. Chris Dixon, you are right. I am drinking a bottled in bond Kentucky bourbon. No, it might be a Georgian bourbon. I can't remember. I can't see it from here, but it was given to me as a gift in Tennessee last April, and it is a great bourbon. So the new charger's coming. I'm excited for that. It's XTAR, XTAR, and unfortunately, it has a kind of a proprietary plug-in-the-wall charger. I don't love that, but I love the fact that it will double as a battery bank because it'll allow you to jump into and harness all of this stored energy. Now, as far as I want to show you guys something else. You know, what do they say? The best plans of mice and men. So these are, see these 2450s right here? These came from my favorite store in the world, IKEA. And I would rather be kicked where the sun don't shine 100 times than walk through IKEA. But I voluntarily walked in there one day to buy these batteries. So the story goes that these 2450s are identical to Eneloop professional batteries, but they're half the price. The older ones used to say made in Japan on them. Yep, these ones still say made in Japan as well. So there's been a lot of testing on them. I'm going to do some, what do you want to call it? Side-by-side comparisons. I've picked up some of these. I have the Amazon Basics ones. I picked up some from Harbor Freight. So if you guys are interested, I'm definitely going to do some head-to-head testing with different types of rechargeable batteries. And if you guys have other recommendations, I know Chicken Hawk will say EBL would be the way to go. And I'll definitely pick some of those up as well. But I've got 5 or 6 different ones. We're going to do a rechargeable battery showdown if I can make time in my review schedule. It's not so much filming the videos, guys. It's all the prep work. And not complaining about it. I love doing it, but I just want to make sure that I put the amount of work into it that it warrants to give you guys good results for sure. And then end up running into problems like burning up a DeWalt drill because I'm pushing it too hard and I let the magic smoke out. Little Klondike says Pendleton for me tonight. So if anybody have any other questions regarding batteries or the G word generators, definitely take a few more minutes to share some time with you. Paul 87D, yeah, and Renegade Butcher says test the batteries. And Paul over in Ireland said I'd love to see a load comparison on them. So yes, that's what I picked this up for, because it will discharge and recharge the batteries and give me a full capacity on them. So I'll do a side-by-side comparison just to see. Originally, it was down to just wanting to know if these IKEA batteries were going to be the same as Eneloops for a third or half the price. But then I'm like, hey, let's keep checking on rechargeable batteries, and then maybe we can come up with another recommendation that isn't Eneloop that are way cheaper. Oh, yeah. So Arizona Renaissance Man. I love this one here, and it's not generators, so we won't talk about those guys. But he said, have you seen DeWalt's USB charging adapter that slides on top of the 20 volts? I don't have one here in the office. I have one out in the shop. I have the old style one. Again, I love it because it allows you to harness stored power that is typically just for cordless tools, but this allows you to slide up an adapter on top and then plug something like this battery pack in if you need to charge it or charge your phone, whatever. So the traditional one, it's like $30. It's got USB-A ports on it, and it works really, really good. But the new one, and this may be the one you're talking about, Arizona, I've had my eye on it. It hasn't been available in Canada yet, but it is a USB-C two-way adapter. So this thing slides on top. It has a USB-A port and it has a USB-C port. What's cool about that is, number one, you can charge things way faster because you can pull power from a DeWalt battery through the USB-C port into any other item. But that's not the best part. Did you hear me say it's two-way? That USB-C port can also act as a charger. So if you don't have a DeWalt charger, you can take that USB-C, plug a cord into it, plug it into your computer or wherever else, and charge your DeWalt battery using just a USB-C cable and that adapter. How friggin' cool is that? I'm excited. Anyway, yeah. Hunter says, I'm late. Did you talk about storage? A little bit, but I'll touch on it again real quick. Right here, Hunter, if you can see, he's over on TikTok. I'll lift it up here again. This is the semi-soft, semi-hard-sided storage container I have. It holds something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6. So it holds about 50 AA's and 50 AAA batteries. The link will be at toolmantim.shop. This has served me well for, God, it's got to be almost 3 years now, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it works great. I leave it out in my shop way too much. I've dropped it a few times, never hurt any of the batteries. Franny, my little chihuahua, has hurt my batteries more than that container being dropped has. Paul says, definitely want to talk about DeWalt. 18-volt advertising here, but we don't the same options. Now, you guys may or may not know this, but the 20-volt labeling, whatever you want to call it, that's stamped on all the DeWalt batteries, the nominal voltage on those is 18 volts. They do some kind of voodoo magic where they can get 20 volts out of it. You know, on a clear day, uphill when the sun's shining and everything's perfect, they can get 20 volts out of it. But the working voltage is 18 volts. But, of course, somebody somewhere got a huge bonus when they ended up putting things, you know, labeling it 20 volts because it separates it from Milwaukee. No, the voltage is the same as Milwaukee, Makita, all the other big brands. But they branded it as 20, and the EU got mad at them and said, you can't do that. That's why they're labeled as 18 over in Europe, just so you know, because it is kind of disingenuous. I like the 20 volt labeling. It just kind of sets it apart. Jaggy Thistle says, have you done a portable solar battery charger review as yet, Tim? Or is it on the list of things to do? A little of both. I don't have a portable setup for solar. I do have my shop solar. I did a couple of episodes on it a few years ago. Jesus, what's wrong with you tonight, Tim? About a year ago, I did 2 episodes on it. I'm due to do a follow-up. I had some trouble with my inverter. I picked up a little LCD readout that Chicken Hawk recommended to me. Haven't installed that yet. So I've been waiting to do a follow-up. I have plans of adding wind power to it as well. But I don't have a portable solar. But what I did pick up, Jaggy, and I mentioned it earlier, but excuse me, I was into Costco the other day, and Cat Brand, I kind of like the Cat Brand stuff for some reason. They had this cool little, looks like a battery, has handles on it. It's got USB ports in the front. It's got 200-watt power, 200 watts of power in there. It has an AC port in the front. It has a wireless magnetic charging port on one side. It has a booster pack built in for your vehicle, and it has an air compressor on another side, all in a really cool compact form factor. So it's very similar to like the Blue Yeti, and I can't think of the other brands right now, but those battery packs that you can pair with a portable solar panel. I just picked up an 8-watt solar panel from Harbor Freight. Maybe I'll try doing that. But anyway, it's exciting. I like that. That'll be the closest I come to a portable solar setup for a little while, but I got a bunch of stuff in the works. When I go full time with this, guys, you will not believe. I put out a lot of content now. Just you wait. But anyway, it's coming. 1 year, December 31st, 2023. I'll be able to be full time with this. That's my goal anyway, guys. What do we got here? Nominal charge point 18 off the charger, Paul says. Yes, you're right on that. Chicken Hawk says, have you noticed that the Eneloop batteries don't all have the same milliamps? I have some Eneloop AAAs that are 800 and some that are 1100. So be careful not to mix or check when ordering. Well, I didn't know that necessarily. What I can tell you is, let me see. I didn't have any of the professionals here. And this, I'm wondering if for you, Chicken Hawk, if it might have been the difference between the standard and the professional. And if not, totally fine. Maybe there's just some that have different voltages, or amperages. Now, if I remember correctly, going back some of I want to say these Eneloops are 4th generation now. And if you go back to the 2nd or 3rd generation, those did have less milliamp hours. And that could be where it came from. But also, if you look at this, you've got, let's see here. Oh my God, my old man eyes don't work like they used to. 1900 milliamp hours on the standard and 2550 on the professional. So that could be part of the difference as well. But definitely, I know when they changed from one generation to the next, the capacity got a little bit better. And for some reason, they decided to go professional instead of just bumping this up. I'm sure basically to rebrand and make more money, but that's another story for another day. Jaggy says, say hello to Hunter for me. I'm still waiting for him to decide if he's my husband or wife so that he can get his green card. Yes, always fun. And John Palmer says yellow and black. I assume we're talking about DeWalt there for sure. But yeah, I will check into that, Chicken Hawk. So we got multiple milliamp ratings for the Eneloop batteries, and we have the new suitcase or briefcase style generator from Honda. See, I use that word. Take a drink, guys. Always that way. Hi, Faye, over on TikTok. Good to have you. I like having you guys over on TikTok. This is great. Gives me another angle to shoot from as well. What do we got here? And yellow. Oh, cat. Sorry. Yeah, John says yellow and black cat. Yeah. So I'm always a big fan of the yellow and black brands. So yeah, we got cat and black and DeWalt. And I've got a bunch of other kind of free tools coming. I should fill you guys in on this to test out. First off, you know, I got that knockoff DeWalt battery that's supposedly 9 amp hours. It's a bit, spoiler alert, it's a bit disappointing, but we'll talk about that on another day. I got some free stuff from the forearm forklift guy. He sent me a really cool sled for pulling stuff. We got to test that out. I've got this Chinese hammer drill that's coming to me. Anyway, going to test that out. And I had a lock picking company reach out to me to send me a bunch of free lock picking gear. Now, just so you guys know, when a company reaches out to me and says, hey, I would love to send you free stuff, the first thing I say to them is, here's the deal. If I'm going to take it, I have to have the right to do a 100% honest and unbiased review on it. And if they say, no, we need to see the video first, I just say, no, thank you. But if they say, yep, no problem, then I'm good with that. Now, here's the thing, guys. That 9 amp hour DeWalt knockoff battery, that review is not going to be good. I almost feel bad about it, but they sent it to me for free. I needed to test it out. There's a whole bunch of issues with it we'll talk about down the road. But the other thing is the way they advertised it. It's not honest. And so I asked them, I said, I would like a second battery for free because I'd like to tear one apart. And they declined that offer. So for what it's worth, you're going to find out the truth about this battery. It may be 2 or 3 more weeks down the road, but I just kind of wanted to fill you in on that. And yeah. Oh yeah, Hunter says, I wonder if Lockpick Lawyer would hop on that. Yeah, probably would. Jaggy says, I'll need to get your autograph in a few years. You'll be a media star and a multi-trillionaire. Oh, thank you, brother. Maybe not a trillionaire, but you know, well, as long as we can afford some land in Tennessee, I'll be happy. We got 12 people on the live stream and 4 or 5 over on TikTok as well. A whole bunch of likes. We got 3,300 likes. Somebody's wearing their thumb out. Oliver's wearing their thumb out tonight, giving me likes over on TikTok. So it's great. But yeah, other than that, I think that's all I got in the pipeline for reviews coming up for you guys. I got so much stuff I'm working on. I love trying to find time to do it all and share with you. And of course, I'd sit down and talk about batteries and generators all the time. But I think, guys, this is a good time to wrap it up. I don't want to keep it going just for the sake of keeping going. But this was a great episode. Thank you guys for sitting around and having an old fashioned with me. I always love sitting around and chatting. Tomorrow night, just so you know, we have John and Amanda Willis coming on. I'm going to see if Mrs. Toolman will join us as well. Originally, I kind of planned it as a Halloween episode, and that's exactly what it's going to be. They're going to come on. They do quite a bit of urban exploring. They've got some videos on TikTok where they talk about going into some old abandoned, what are they, like asylums? I don't know what the proper word for it is. You have to be careful nowadays because every time you try to call something, somebody tells you anyway, you guys know the story. So somebody just sent me lollipops and pieces of cake over on TikTok. I don't have a sweet friggin' clue what that's for. Barrett Bishop, my brother-in-law, he said, thanks, Tim. Oh, no, there we are. Have a great night, brother from a different mother. And Jaggy says, save a small piece of land in the corner for me. Absolutely, my friend. Arizona says, pretty confident you'll reach the full-time goal next year. 100%, guys. That's where we're heading. And I appreciate all of your guys' support. So, yeah, tune in tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat channel. Amanda and John from SOE Tactical. I'll definitely have to wear one of his shirts because he treats me really well, sends me a lot of nice shirts, and I always appreciate that. So, guys, thanks for dropping by with me. Winter is coming, and yeah, so I will have a little more free time to spend with you guys in the live streams. But thank you for coming because I know you can be anywhere and you choose to come and hang out here and be part of this great, fucking incredible community. So thanks. So guys, as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.